Hi, and welcome to another video. My name is Freddy, and here I have this book which I finished in July, I think, and it was one of the books that made July a great month in terms of reading. Fugitive Pieces by Anne Michaels. This book, if I were to describe it in one word, I would say that it is so evocative. One of the strong points of this book is the language. It has a decent plot. Character development here is really beautiful. I really enjoyed it. But I think the biggest strength of this book is definitely the use of language and how the story uses language for its character. How the story uses the language as a tool to help its character gain some development, but at the same time the author is also using language in such a beautiful way. The prose in here is just so gorgeous, and that was actually one of the reasons that I kept reading this book. This book was literally a page turner for me. It was mainly because I was just so I was having so much fun, devouring the words, savoring them. So this book actually has two parts in it, and those two parts there are separated in terms of different kind of plot, different central character, but they are connected with each other, and I think that's really wonderful. So the first part of this book is actually about a boy who was the sole survivor in the Holocaust. I think he was in Poland, and his whole family has been murdered, and he was the only one that survived. And so he hid somewhere. I think it was at an archaeological site, and one day he was found by a Greek geologist named Athos. Now this boy, his name is Jacob, and Jacob was found by Athos, and Athos took him in. He kind of hid him on his journey all the way back to Greece, and it was there that Athos became the guardian of Jacob. Jacob just pretty much grew up under the care of Athos, and it was there that he, growing up in an environment that was totally different from where he was as a child, surrounded by culture and languages that are quite different from his. He kind of discovers the way language can be a tool for him to kind of cope with his own misery of the past, the trauma that he experienced. And language just became a vehicle for him to kind of express himself. So Jacob, as a child, he lives in Greece with Athos, and they moved to Canada. And it was there in Canada that he further has this exposure to a totally different language, where he, uses it further to help himself heal. And because he uses language to kind of help him, it literally becomes part of himself. And so he became a famous poet, a somewhat accomplished poet in this novel. Now we move on to the second part of this book, and it's about the character of Ben. Now Ben's a different character because he's a younger person. He's obviously he came from the generation that came after the generation of Jacob, I think. And his parents were the survivors of the Holocaust. And throughout Ben's life as a child, he was kind of subjected to this experience with his parents, where his parents would actually live their lives as if the best thing ever has happened to them. The parents were quite frugal, and they were extremely appreciative of whatever that is happening around them. They would not waste anything. It was this kind of appreciation of the things around them that kind of made things a little bit weird for Ben, because when he was born, Ben did not have to endure the suffering that his parents had to while they were in the concentration camps. He pretty much had this barrier going on between him and his parents. And the second part of this novel pretty much explores how he is trying to kind of like understand the lives of his parents even after they died. And it was kind of, partially through the exploration of Jakob's life that Ben was able to kind of understand more about his parents. And, at the same time, he also discovered a secret about his own life and his parents' history when he was young. And it was quite shocking. It was quite a shocking discovery for him, but he also learned how to kind of reconcile with that particular discovery and how to be in peace with that knowledge. Overall, this book has a lot of stuff going on. I think that whatever I'm gonna say in this video is not going to be enough to encapsulate every single thing that I would like to express, because I think it is just so filled with details and so much emotions that I think a single video is not going to be like really enough for this book. But one point that I just wanted to highlight about this book is that how the emotions that this book projects, it feels very real. When I was reading it, when I first started reading this book, I actually found it a little bit difficult because the language was kind of, it leaned more on the poetic side. And before that, I read more of a casual book, with conversational tone. So it was really different. But as I got through like at least 10 pages, I think when I reached the second chapter of this book, I was really engrossed. There were so many things that you could feel at the same time. There were sadness that felt like, that felt like it was coming from someone who sat beside you. And the same went with the happiness, the anxiety, certain bits of anger. And these emotions, they are not portrayed in such one-dimensional way that you could just kind of define them as happy or sad. Each of those emotions, they are written in such a layer that makes it really, really interesting to see where those emotions of each character is coming from. Like, I find it really interesting to see how this is what I felt, how Jakob does feel some sort of resentment, maybe some sort of anger towards the stuff that happened to his family when he was a child. But at the same time, there was this anxiety that is surrounding him, because whatever that he has of his family, of his sister, of his parents, those were just memories. And it probably felt really difficult for him to kind of like trying to reconcile with feeling angry about those things that happened. But at the same time, it was so long time ago that perhaps he just realized that feeling angry at those things just probably won't make anything better by the time he was already an adult. And so from this particular instance, I could feel that even though something bad has happened to this particular character, it's not something that you can just describe as, oh, this character is so angry, and that's it. This character is angry, but at the same time, there was so much other things other than anger that is happening to this character. And that's why I find this book, the way it treats the character with such care, that I just love it so much. And I'm really excited to see how the characters would feel from chapter to chapter, because I kind of got the pattern. I feel like the characters, whenever they start to feel something, it's not gonna be something that is just so simply described. And that's really awesome. So yeah, those are the thoughts that I have about this book. this is a really, really wonderful book. And if you have not read this, like always, you know, like in all of my book talk videos, I urge you to try it because it's awesome. I love it, and you should try it too. And so that's it for this book talk about Fugitive Pieces, and I'll hope to see you again in another video. So until then, bye bye and take care.